It's a day of happy returns. The Bengals return to action, and we finally saw Joe Burrow return to throwing the ball. Jeff Hobson returns to our show. John returned to his family. And Hoji returns to the East Coast for another wedding circuit. Daddy-O didn't return from anything because we can't get anyone to welcome him anywhere. Instead, he's been sitting at home, surreptitiously shredding documents and using his new app, FBI Tracker. Looking for no return on your time investment? Then come join us on the #1 Bengals podcast.
Yeah, what an intro. Thank you, Bridget. So good to have you back on the show because you're the only co-host who actually showed loyalty and actually showed up today. We're missing a lot of co-hosts. I don't even know how many. But yeah, I know you had an adventurous day today.
I did. Did you see? Yeah. Look at this jewelry I got. Let me see. Can I get this in frame?
That is amazing.
Isn't that nice? Look at that.
I feel like the players should get that, but...
I think they got one that's a little bit nicer than this. Yeah. This is great. I think theirs might be a little bit blingier.
And see, this is one of the perks of working for the #1 Bengals podcast that a lot of people don't know about. And when we had the application for interns, people don't apply. They don't know that you are basically, you can be AFC champions. You can be Super Bowl champions. But yeah. Do you want to...
It looks like I am.
Did you want to share those pictures with us?
Ooh, yeah, Courtney, do you want to put these up? I had a very fun day, or fun morning, at Paycor Stadium.
Yeah.
That's me with a crispy white helmet. I'm really excited for the white stripes. I think there's a new homage white t-shirt out that I'm going to have to get. So that's me in the white helmet. And look at that Lamar Hunt trophy. And shout out to my season ticket rep, Brian Poston. You can see his reflection in the trophy case. He took that photo. So thanks, Brian. You nailed it.
Yeah, that is very heartwarming. And also, what is heartwarming is the fact that you can watch this show on a lot of different platforms. One of them is Brinks.tv. And Brinks.tv has this show, it has the Ray Lewis show, it has the NFL Moms show, and it has my favorite show, Conspiracy Now. And I know Courtney wants me to talk about the latest episode, which is actually about fluoride in the water. And it's not just that it diminishes your IQ or that it turns you into basically a very corrupt human being or anything like that. But what's interesting is they say the fluoride in the water is a conspiracy by the beef industry so that people have a stronger teeth so that they can sell rougher steaks. So it's a very interesting conspiracy that fluoride is actually for your teeth, but not for the reasons we think. So that is fascinating. And also, we want you to tell your friends about us.
That sounded ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous. Also, if you go eat at a Jeff Ruby's steakhouse, you don't need those, tough teeth. Those steaks are, smooth.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Delicious.
Yes, but then he can only sell certain parts of the cow and certain cows. Now you can sell the older cows, the rougher cows.
Off-brand. Keep going.
It makes sense to me. I don't know. Courtney can maybe chime in on the details. I only listened to the first 4 hours of it. It's a very long podcast. But we also want you to tell your friends about us, DNH Sports, the #1 Bengals podcast on Believe, because apparently marketing is very expensive these days, Bridget. So we want you to do the marketing for us. All right. I want to cut right to the chase because we have my favorite guest of all time, my favorite writer of all time, the man who, maybe I shouldn't ruin his reputation by saying this, but inspired me to become a sports writer. I cannot obviously claim to have achieved his very, very craftsmanship, very talented kind of ability as a writer, but I do always appreciate his articles. Even now on Bengals.com, it is the highest quality content that you will see about the team. And it is going to be very interesting to talk to him now, a year after his last appearance, considering that the Bengals had probably their most, inspirational run, the greatest kind of performance that we've seen since this man was covering the team. I'm talking about none other than Mr. Jeff Hobson. Jeff, welcome to the show again.
Thank you for your very kind words, and I'm sure you've had more views than me. So, but I thank you for having me on.
No, that I don't.
If he
think
has, it's for the wrong reasons.
It's the bots, because Bridget has a lot of Chinese bots that follow her. But
Is it Chinese bots or Russian bots?
Mine are Russian bots. Hers are Chinese
Okay.
bots.
Oh, all right. Well,
But I will say this, Mr. Hobson. I'm not sure what to call. Last time we called you senior writer, and
Yes.
you seem to not appreciate it, so we put supreme writer this time.
that's okay.
I hope,
It would be even more. It would be even more senior writer now since the last time we talked. I guess, right? It's
Well-
hard to believe. It's hard to believe it was a year ago.
I don't want to correct the great Jeff Hobson, but I don't think that is what the senior is referring to, my good friend. It is not about your age.
Yes.
You have been. It is about your authority and your dominance over other writers. That's why we call it the supreme writer now.
Well, thank you very much. It's got a little bit of a. It's got a little bit of a kind of an. What am I going to say? Kind of an authoritarian bent there.
Yes,
Supreme
I love
writer.
it. Yes, that is exactly, yeah. But so we had Mr. Ben Baby on the show,
Yes.
and his life has turned upside down as the ESPN beat writer of the Bengals since the team skyrocketed, and so did Emily Parker. I don't know if you heard, but she turned down the press secretary job, the White House, which I would have too. I don't think you should accept every invitation to the White House. You should.
I think that would have been a demotion.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I was reading about your kind of career trajectory, and it seems like not only have you won the Pete Rozelle Award and Peabody, but that you were asked to write the next Star Wars spin-off, which is about Darth Maul, whereas I think it should have been about the Watto character. I think that man knew how to make good deals, but yeah. So how has your life changed during this? Yeah.
It's been crazy. I mean, it's changed, but it hasn't. You know what I mean? It's it's always been football, but there's more people in the locker room. There's more reporters around. There's more cameras around, so it's great. There's just a great buzz. It was really interesting walking into the scouting combine, and it's like 2 weeks after the game, and I'm still writing about the last drive, and I have no idea who these young players are, who these prospects are. So it was kind of there's really been no stop. There's been no. Not even, we had a month break, but it didn't seem like, between the last OTA and the first training camp practice, there was a month break, but it just like everything else, it just seemed kind of jammed in, so it was, just a great wild ride. I can only imagine what would have happened if there had been a parade and they won, and we won the whole thing. Maybe I guess we'll find out this year, right?
I agree. I mean, I do think that the Rams, so-called victory, was fake news. I haven't really accepted it yet.
It was a fake parade, that's for sure.
Fake parade for sure, yes.
Well, Los Angeles is, anything with Los Angeles, it's all pretend, isn't it?
It is. It is. I was there for a very long time. And I will tell you, it was interesting. They had to pay, They had to pay Lakers fans and all the different championships they won during the pandemic. They had to pay those fans to come and pretend to cheer for the Rams. It was amazing. But it's funny when we think about it, Mr. Hobson. Last time you were on the show, we were reminiscing about the great players of the mid and late 90s and the beginning of your kind of career at Bengals.com. And now we have so much to talk about because so many great memories, so many great player performances in this past year, and none bigger than Mr. Joe Burrow. And you've gotten to see this man up close, and you can confirm that he is a real human being. I mean, he is not a metaphysical kind of, because a lot of people, they talk about his charisma, they talk about his power, they talk about as if, and actually Emily talked about how they try to maintain that mystique. They try to keep him away from Porter so he can keep that aura of invincibility and supernatural ability. What is it like being around him? Because by the way, in his article, I just want to say, Mr. Jeff Hobson, he referred to him as Wonder Boy, and I looked it up. Wonder Boy was it was in 1940. He was born in 1940. He was an alien with the strength of 10,000 men.
Yeah.
He gave bombastic speeches. He had a girlfriend named Sally Benson. Now, I thought most of that seemed true, but Joe Burrow has the strength of much more than 10,000 men. I mean, there was like 70,000 Chiefs fans that he basically, he overpowered on his own. So I get the analogy, but I feel like Joe Burrow, it's kind of hard to come up with analogies for him.
Well, Roy Hobbs. I mean, I always thought he was Roy Hobbs before yesterday, but now I know he's definitely Roy Hobbs because when he came back to practice, there was thunder and lightning. And so if you've ever seen the movie The Natural or read the book The Natural, that was, he's got this mystique. He does have a mystique about him. He came to Cincinnati with a mystique, and it's just, leave it to him to come back from appendicitis and this thunder and lightning. I mean, he's just, no matter what he does, he always seems to bring something a little bit special. So it's fun to watch. It's fun to be around. I don't know what you call it. What did you call, what was John F. Kennedy in 1960? What was, what was Robert Redford in the 70s? What was, I'm dating myself here, but, what was Barack Obama in 2008? I don't know. I don't know what it was.
Handsome is a word you could use for all of those men.
Yeah, well, I guess, I don't know. I don't know about that. I wouldn't know about that. I'm on with this guy here, John, what's your character's name there?
Bridget is her name. Sorry, what was the
the guy. No, you're much better looking than I am with that thing there.
Well,
so I don't know anything about. So I don't know anything about handsome or charisma or whatever. I just know it when I see it.
Yeah.
And Burrow's one of those. Burrow's one of those people.
Well, I guess here's the thing. Oh, so I think Bridget has a question. I'll see.
Yeah,
this real quick.
I was just wondering, and so what's been interesting, we were talking about returns at the start of the show, and I assume now press and media are all back. Just from the press conferences, it looks like everybody in the media room is back. I think there's less Zoom. There's certainly less tech difficulties on our end as viewers. But now getting to be back in the press room, kind of regular or back to normal, like, what is it like being with Burrow, and how is he a little bit different than what QBs have brought to the Bengals in the past, especially the more recent past, which I know a lot of Bengals fans are really feeling, and we're coming out of that with this series of wins last year.
Well, the biggest thing he's got is a Super Bowl under his belt, which is huge, and that's clear. That's clear with his with the command he has in the locker room, with the command of the coaches and the players. It's his. That was kind of one of the things yesterday, was everybody thought he was just gonna not even go in 7-on-7, that he would just do individuals and he would go through this thing gradually, but he wanted to do 7-on-7, and if he felt like he could do 7-on-7, then it didn't matter what anybody else thought. He wanted to do it, and he did it, and he did it well. And so I think I think being around Burrow, and here's the thing, we really haven't been around him because he had the appendicitis. Okay, so he hasn't talked to the press yet. I think he's going to do that Wednesday. We've just seen him on the field twice. We see him maybe walking through the locker room. So it's not like we've really, we talked to him a couple times during OTAs during the spring, but the guy's I think he's very confident in himself. He gives direct answers. He's not afraid of giving you an offbeat answer. So I think he is what you see. He's a winner. He's a confident guy, and I think that that's the way he came in, and that's the way he's been.
So we all know him sorry, Daddy, one more question. We all know him as like Joey Burr, Joey Cool. He doesn't get his feathers too ruffled. Is
Right.
there anything you can ask him, like a specific topic or line of questioning that gets his feathers ruffled, or is like, hey, stay away from that? Joe will get his hackles up.
I'm sure if you probably ask him about any of maybe a game he lost or a bad throw, or he's such a competitor, I think the times I've seen him maybe balk a little bit have been about maybe some bad memories. He's a competitor, so. But I haven't. He's always been, like you say, he's always been under control and everything. But I think probably he would bite back a little bit if you brought up a bad game or a bad throw.
Well, I'll tell you, on this show, I don't believe he's had a bad game or a bad throw. And I have explanations for every one of those incidents that other people are. No, seriously, they talked about the Super Bowl and people said Matthew Stafford outperformed him. I was like, what games did you watch the same game? And I
agree with you. I agree with you there. He did not outperform. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Burrow made a few really big throws, and considering the defensive line, that was the biggest. Let's say that was the worst matchup. That was the most lopsided matchup in the Super Bowl I can remember in terms of one position group versus another. That D line versus that offensive line.
I agree. Matthew Stafford did not beat the Bengals.
No.
I agree with you there.
And I think that Burrow, he wasn't in a groove the way he was against the Chiefs. He wasn't heroic the way he was making those runs. He wasn't that, but that wasn't there for him. But I still feel like he had a very good game. And I feel like he was, he had this right there. So anyways, my point is I would really like to get him on the show. And so I'm wondering if he's seen this show, because we would never, ever say anything negative about his past performances.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I say, that's part of the mystique of Burrow. I'm not sure, not exactly sure what he watches or,
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Bridget will find him eventually.
I know that Carson liked Lost. He was a big. Remember when Lost was out?
Yeah.
Carson was a big. He watched all those, and I think Joe watched the Queen's Gambit. I think.
Oh, he likes chess. Daddy, you just need like a SpongeBob costume.
Yeah,
I think that might do it.
Yeah, he likes. He likes. That's his guy, SpongeBob, and So I think if you could you put on like a SpongeBob head or something?
I would do whatever it takes, sir. I would do whatever it takes.
I think he would definitely come on. I think if it was, if you came on with SpongeBob. I don't know if you can do that. I don't know if you can do that copyright wise. Can you? I don't know.
We'll figure it out. We have Courtney's legal team will figure it out. But I just wanted the headline here. I just wanted real quick talking about Zippity Rara. You talked about the zip on his passes. And Courtney, can you play the famous clip of Joe Burrow? His first day back. And like you said, they said, hey, don't throw the ball. You're missing your appendix and your this and that, and you don't have your organs. And so then he throws this pass. Look at this. Look at that accuracy. Look at that velocity. Look at that placement. And what I like about it, can we look at the beginning again? If you look at how he fools them with his eyes. It's very subtle, right? I think he starts left and he goes right with his eyes and then he goes back left. And this is his mid-season form in my eyes, Yeah,
I think he even had a better throw than that. I think his last throw was even better than that. It was the same kind of throw. Right in the dead zone of a cover two. And I think I don't think he thought his passes had zip on them, but I thought they did. I thought he was singing it pretty good, but. I'm just an amateur, but I thought that I also thought that like you did there that it's pretty accurate there for a guy who hadn't thrown in 2 weeks and had just had an organ ripped out of his body.
Yeah, that's what they say. I mean, we had a whole discussion on the show about what the appendix is. Obviously, I was under the understanding, and Jeff knows best, but that it is that cheat sheet that you have on your wrist with all the plays, and obviously in his third year he no longer needs that, so he ripped it out, but. They say it is much more painful than that. But
I always thought it was at the end of. I always thought
that's
it was
what I'm
at
saying.
the end of a book.
Yeah.
I always thought it was the thing at the end of a book.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
it's always minor surgery when it's not yours, right?
Yeah.
If it's not your surgery, it's always minor. So.
But here's the thing. So Joe Burrow, or as a lot of people are calling him Job Burrow, because this man seems to have to go through some tragedy every single year as Bengals quarterback. And he keeps overcoming it. He keeps passing the test. I can't remember every single offseason, this man, first it was they threw a pandemic at him, right? Or they threw this virus trying to stop Joe Burrow from winning a Super Bowl with the Bengals. And then, they had that knee injury was he tore. Do you remember, Jeff? It was 9 ligaments in his knee on one hit.
I know.
And,
yeah.
And then now, I don't know if I was wondering if this is like Andrew Luck. Remember, he lost one of his lungs because he got hit so hard. I'm wondering if this appendix thing is from all the hits he took, or it's just random. But the man has gone through a lot, and I can't remember someone who has gone through so much and been so patient and so, so let's say calm in the face of so much adversity. He just, like you said, he's like, hey, put me back. And they're like, Joe, you need all your body parts first. And he's like, no, put me back.
Yeah. Well, what did Oscar Goldman tell Steve Austin? We can rebuild him. I'm dating myself too much. That's a $6 million man from the 70s.
No, I love these references.
Yeah. Sorry, but he Steve Austin blew himself up, but they put him back together. It was the Bionic Man. So maybe Joe's got a little bit of bionics in him.
I'm going to write this down. Yeah, this is great. This is good stuff.
Daddy-O, it seems like, though, our next topic is pretty relevant. Like, how do we protect this
There
guy?
we go. Yeah. So left guard, right? We have this big issue at left guard. And Jackson Carman, they said he looked better this offseason. First preseason game, he had a bad game. Now we know he's struggling with an injury.
I don't know if he had a bad game. He had a bad couple plays. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he had 33 snaps.
Yeah.
Some of them weren't very good, but I don't think it's time to put Jackson Carman in the dustbin yet.
No.
They made Volson was with the ones today, but we'll see what we'll see what Wednesday brings. I think it's kind of I think it's going to take the rest of the camp to figure it out, and I just wouldn't it'd be tough to. Like I say, it's tough to sentence Carman to the dustbin. I think. I think he didn't. I think Volson. Volson was pretty steady. But it was his first game. He has some things to improve on too. So I think this thing plays out. I talked to Zach Taylor coming off the field, and he said, people shouldn't make more of this than it is. So I appreciate what it means with Volson getting the nod with the ones, but I just think that's what it is today, and I don't know what it's going to be Wednesday.
Well, I mean, the Zach Taylor era has been a little bit different. It's been a little bit bolder in terms of the risk-taking and the players that they pick up and move around, right? I mean, we had a lot of veterans who they were like, hey, maybe we can find guys that fit better. And there were risks, I mean, you look at Carl Lawson and Trey Hendrickson, a lot of these players that we moved around, or what was the corner that went to Washington, right? And we got Chidobe.
I got two for the price of one.
Two for the price of one. And so I guess when he says they're making more, I mean, obviously you don't want to destroy Carman's confidence after all he's been through. Right. But if Volson, if he does show you something, right. I mean, how open is the competition is my question.
Yeah, no, I think it's a competition. I think it's a competition. I don't think Volson has won it or is even ahead.
Is it a fair competition? Is it going to be merit-based, or is it going to be what I call draftism, where it's like, hey, look, Carman was drafted second round. Until he loses it, it's his job.
Well, they got a kid in the fourth round, which isn't far off, and I thought they split the snaps pretty evenly, and I think that's if they continue with this lineup, and they have Volson start, play the first half of New York, and then switch it. It's kind of the same. They'll be, I don't see any favoritism. Okay. I don't see any favoritism with this thing right now. I see kind of the opposite. I think Carman's, I think people are crushing Carman because he was a second round pick and they wanted to be Max Montoya. And like I said, I think he had a couple bad plays the other night, but he's practiced better than he played. So they've got that on tape. And I just don't think people give I just don't think they give him a break. I mean, he came in last year. He switched positions. He switched sides, and he was coming off back surgery. Okay, he had a tough run there, and I thought he played pretty good in the AFC Championship game in the 30 plays that he played. So let's like I say, he's got to play better, but I'm not ready to take him to the guillotine.
I just want to say real quick, Jeff, it's also about optics with Jackson Carman. Not only the history and all that, but also just his kind of his position, right? He's kind of upright when he blocks, and we have a lot of people on Twitter who make a lot of O-line observations. Like, he just doesn't seem to have the right form. And so that is, for a lot of people, it's like he might have the body for it, but is he going to learn how to use his body correctly? And it's something that's a little bit more tangible for people, I think, his let's say his struggles.
Jeff, what's your take? I know we're talking about left guard, but Bengals Twitter always has a lot of opinions about just everything. And I know O-line depth. So the preseason game on Friday was an opportunity to get a look at some of these guys who are playing in the 2 and 3 and maybe in 4 spots. And, I mean, we had great wide receiver depth. Pryor was looking awesome, but there were some questions about O-line depth. What was your take, and what are some of the things you think the Bengals need to be looking out for, need to be looking at in terms of the O-line this season?
Yeah, well, the backup tackles have to play better than they did the other night. Adeniji and Prince just have to play better, flat out. And I think, Dante Smith, I'm anxious to see him play. He hasn't played yet. I think he's a tackle. I think he's a guy that they have high hopes for. John talked about Carmen's athleticism and his upside, and that's exactly what Dante Smith is. He's trying to get the perfect build for an NFL tackle. So their tackles have to play better. I think they like what they saw from Trey Hill. I think they like the center backing up Teddy Karras. He played the first half. He's going to have to play some guard. He's going to have to play both. But I think they like the way that he's progressing. I think the big thing besides getting us, to me the big backup question is finding a swing tackle, finding a competent swing tackle behind Collins and Jonah Williams. They got to find a third tackle, and a reliable third tackle, and hasn't surfaced yet. And I think other than that, I think Hill's got to show up his spot at center, and I think obviously the loser of the Volson Carmen deal is going to be a backup, and I think that's a pretty you got a pretty good option there off the bench.
Well,
either way.
Yeah, let me ask you about that. So a lot of people are saying they want Quinton Spain back. Is there a chance to bring in a veteran, or is it going to be between these two guys?
I mean, I think they like the age I think they like the youth of the group.
Okay.
You never say never.
Yeah.
But I think the whole thing was trying to get better, right? That was the whole thing about the off season, trying to get better. And I think the mistake is going to be to rush to judgment off of game one. That's I think that's something. I don't think it can have game one, and then you're going back and ripping up the depth chart. You got to be patient.
What about a guy they're familiar with, like Trey Hopkins coming back as a guard?
Like I say, I think it's a little soon to blow it up. I think it's a little bit soon to.
That's what I tell them.
I mean,
stay calm.
I mean, let's see what happens after the Giants game. You know what I mean? I mean, and and maybe you're right. Maybe they are talking about guys like this because they lost a rookie guard who's probably going to be on the practice squad. Ben Brown is gone for the year. He was kind of tracking for the practice squad. So I just think we got to let it play out. It's August 15th. They got about They got about 10 more practices. They got 2 games. So, if they got to go get these guys, if they think they have to go get these guys, I just think we're not there yet.
Okay, well, we only have 2. I think you said you have to leave in about 2 minutes. Is it possible we can make it 5 minutes or no?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay, so we'll try to be quick. But so I want to talk about backup quarterback.
Yeah.
And so Drew Plitt, he had a very impressive game, and he had kind of that energy. He had kind of that dynamic kind of, let's say, charisma even a little bit when he was on the field. And again, it's one game, and it wasn't the best game for the offense out there. But Browning, and of course, poor Brandon Hill, he got concussed, but we've seen Brandon Allen. A lot of people are chanting, "Let's go, Brandon." They were cheering him on, but
let's stop.
But that's not what they were saying.
That.
Okay.
Nope.
Yeah. But
not here.
But I would say this: Brandon Allen was, he knows the system. He knows the system. They know him. He is kind of the safety, kind of the safe bet for quarterback position. But let's just say you want the upside. Is there a chance that they go with the Drew Blitz, or is there a chance, as the second?
I don't think there's no. It's Brandon Allen's a backup, and I think the other 2 guys is far enough distance between him and between them and Allen that they would not consider that. Although Plitt, maybe Plitt could play his way onto the practice squad. Could Plitt maybe beat out Browning? I don't know. I don't. Browning's been in the league 4 years. I don't know. They just picked up Plitt. Plitt was on the street when Joe got his appendix out. So, that's how those guys are viewed. So, a lot would have to happen. I think a lot would have to happen in the next couple of weeks if the Bengals quarterback world as we know it was shuffled. That's Allen as the backup and Browning as a practice squad guy, and Plitt is maybe on an emergency phone list, maybe.
What about the receiver? We've talked about, obviously Trent Taylor looks really good out there. But what about Pryor? I mean, that man was...
Yeah, Pryor's an interesting case. Pryor's got a lot, it's a tough path for him. He can't, because he doesn't return. He doesn't return kicks. So...
But he defended the punt return well, right?
Yeah, like I said, he doesn't return kicks. You're not going to make a guy, you're not going to give a receiver guy a job if he's, the way this current roster is structured, you need a punt returner, and that's coming out of wide receiver. So they've got the guys to do that. They've got Stanley Morgan, and they've got Michael Thomas to do those things you're talking about, covering punts and stuff. But I think if Pryor has 2 more games like this, then they got to seriously think about keeping 7 receivers. They want to keep 6, but Pryor might be a situation where he's so good, where he plays so good. Maybe you have to rethink it and say, okay, maybe we go with 7 receivers and go light somewhere else, because this kid's obviously the best player. But I think in order for that to happen, he's going to have he's going to have to do what he did against Arizona. He's going to have to do that 2 more times, and he may.
Jeff, I've got a question for you. I know you can't have 2 Joe Burrows or 2 Joe Burrow caliber QBs on a team. This Bengals team is different than Bengals teams we've seen, in the past 3-4 years. Do you think that should something awful happen and Brandon Allen has to step in and be QB1 for a handful of games or close out the season, do you think he's got what it takes to leverage the amazing offensive tools we now have on this team and to really lead? Or do you think the Bengals need to consider, what a different QB2 might need to look like on a team that's really, really competitive, not just in the AFC North, but in the entire NFL?
I don't know how you can afford that. And that's the problem and you raise a good point, Bridget, and that's a problem that contending teams have with a really good quarterback. How much you can't pay? You can't pay him. You can't pay a backup. Now Brandon Allen is the coaches love Brandon Allen. And you guys remember the game in Houston 2 years ago. He threw for 370 yards. He completed 78% of his passes. Now, he's not going to do that every time out, but, they've got a good defense. They've got good people around them. If they can protect them, he's not going to be Joe Burrow. Could he win enough games to get you to the playoffs? Who knows? If he was good enough, he'd be playing somewhere, right? He wouldn't be a backup. But I think he's a competent guy, and for what they can afford at that spot, it's probably about as good as they can do, because he knows the system inside and out. And it's hard when you got a guy like Burrow, and you're going to have to, it's just like people talking about, well, they should get a number 4 receiver. Well, that's you can't. They've got a number 4 receiver. He's Mike Thomas. If you want to go get another guy that's better than Mike Thomas, you can't really. How are you going to pay all these receivers? Where the starting number is now 25 million. So it's a great question, because you always have to think about the unthinkable. But I just can't. I just don't think their salary cap allows them. You're gonna have to go the way of the way of the veteran that you trust in.
The main thing
they're
is,
gonna need some of that money you print in your basement.
Right. The main thing is, Mr. Hobson, we're gonna let you go now, I promise. But the main thing is, we all, as you know, want to see Mr. Jesse Bates back in uniform, and we feel like it's close. And so, if there's going to be any money spent, we hope it's on him, because that man, he was the heart of that defense that got us to the Super Bowl. So, yeah,
well, he'll make $13 million this year, so whenever he comes in, so that's already spoken for. So,
yeah. Well, Mr. Hobson, I'm sorry to keep you a little longer than we.
Thank you very much.
But it's just always so interesting to talk to you, and we have so much to catch up on. We hope that you will be willing to come back.
Yes.
Go. Thank you.
If I haven't destroyed your show or your ratings, would be glad to come back.
You bring them up.
Yes.
He destroys them.
These are the best conversations we've ever had on the show. But everybody out there, I know you're young. I know you're looking for the TikToks and the quick, little tweets and all the short stuff. It all starts from Mr. Hobson. Everybody's tweets, all the blogs, even at Cincy Jungle where I work, the information that we get is from Mr. Hobson's reporting. His articles, they're fantastic. Go read them. When you have a few minutes to actually concentrate, go read Mr. Hobson's articles, and you will learn a lot, and you will learn a lot about writing as well, and journalism. So,
John, thank you, John. Thank you very much, John. Kind words, but tell him to throw in a book or two now. I'm reading a great book now. I went back and got a book that I got in 1968 when I was about 9 years old. Go Up for Glory by Bill Russell.
Oh, that's a good
The late
idea.
great Bill Russell, who passed on July 30th. Go Up for Glory. You gotta read it.
Definitely, we will definitely read that, and we love having people like Mr. Hobson. We really value these people. Of course, not because they are seniors, but because he's the supreme most powerful writer in Cincinnati. So thank you, Mr. Hobson, and
Thank you very much for your kind words.
Us.
Thanks for having me on, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Enjoy the season.
Thank you.
Hooday.
Hooday.
Wow, love that guy. What a charming, articulate, intelligent guy. Such a nice.
Like the opposite of all the things you are. I love.
We didn't have to go in that direction, Bridget. And we are going to do the Dad You Care segment, where you get to pretend, you get to do your moral, grandstanding, your kind of
It is funny that it's called Daddy-O Cares, but
because
I do it.
Because I do.
But I do it.
I don't even charge you for the free advertising you do during Daddy-O Cares.
Well, we're not even advertising anything. Today we're going to celebrate the players who unfortunately were let go after the first game. And there were some particularly talented folks. So the Bengals opted to waive 3 players after the game on Friday. Cornerback Abu Durrami Soare. I tried practicing that a bunch and still muffed it. Just like Puka Williams, the wide receiver who muffed that punt in the fourth quarter, the Bengals opted to waive him, and I think that's completely expected. And then running back Shamari Jones. And we were actually hoping to get Abu on the show. If folks haven't checked it out, Jeff Hobson actually did an amazing write-up on Abu's story. He was a La Rosa's delivery guy. He was delivering pizza during the Super Bowl, and all he really wanted to do was play in the NFL. He played in Germany. I mean, his family has this incredible history and really tragic history in Sierra Leone, and he is just a story of persistence and success. And he actually had a really solid performance on Friday night, maybe the second best defensive performance. Dadio, you may be able to correct that. So we are sending all three of them well wishes and hopeful that they'll land somewhere, whether it's on our practice squad or with another team. But Abu really his story grabbed at my heartstrings. And we'll make sure to tweet out a link to Jeff's story on him, because he is just, his story is all about persistence, all about living your dreams. And I know he wanted to live them with the Cincinnati Bengals. So hopefully we will see Abu back on our roster in an upcoming season.
Yeah. I mean, he wanted to live his dream of being on the number one Bengals podcast, and we were in communication, and it just didn't work out. But no, I mean, this man, if I'm not mistaken, his family had to flee, and his I think 8-year-old brother was stuck, left behind for many years, I think, until they were reunited. And it's a very, very, he overcame all that, and he, like you said, he had the second best game according to PFF of all defenders. But it was a long shot. He did his best, and oh wow, look at that!
I love it. That's my favorite moment of any show ever.
That is strange. That I was speaking. It's not supposed to work like that. But anyways, yeah. So that is, that is what you said. What did you say about the? You talked about money at one point. I'm trying to remember what it was. I'm trying to transition to Patreon, because we do have a new Patreon.
I was talking about you printing counterfeit money in your basement.
Right. Well, that is kind of. Oh no, you were asking me if he was indeed the second best defender. And what I was going to say is, I'm sorry, we can't afford the fact checker. But, we're getting closer to affording a fact checker, because we have a new patron. And let me just tell you real quick, his name is, here we go, Lorenzo Soares. Lorenzo Soares is our new patron, $5 club. This man is a hero. He's a national treasure. He's going to make our dreams come true. And we are going to try to bring the fact checker on in a limited capacity starting, what was it, Bridget? Next month, I think? We're going to start in September. We don't have a fact checker. We have no idea when she's going to come, because we don't have a fact checker. But we will get all those stuff straightened out very soon. Look, if you're watching the show, just know that you're doing it for free, which is okay. It is okay. Would you ride a car for free? No. Would you eat a sandwich for free? No. But would you watch our stream for free? Apparently you would. But you can support us on patreon.com/dhsports. You can go to winnow.app/dhsports, and you can hear John's soothing and seductive voice messages. And you can also make sure to subscribe and leave comments. We love the comments. We read all the comments, and we will share the comments. I saw a comment last week I wanted to have Courtney share. It said something about the overly annoying daddy-o. And I love
this comment.
Well, I was going to say, I don't think that's fair to my team. They're not overly annoying me. They maybe interrupt me a lot, but I think they're just the right amount of annoying. But it said, overly annoying daddy-o is getting on the guy's nerves. And
that's my favorite listener and viewer.
But he's criticizing you. He's criticizing you for.
Oh no, they were
annoying daddy-o too much. Overly annoying daddy-o. Yeah, that's what he was saying. But so leave comments, leave the thumbs up, subscribe, turn on the notifications, And follow Bridget on Twitter. She is on fire. She is sharing all the stories. She's all around the city, Cincinnati. She's meeting the players. She's running into them on the street. She is getting Super Bowl rings. She's, I don't know, legally, not legally if she's taking them, but she has the Bengals Super Bowl ring. And Hoji and John should be back very soon. And we'll see. That's all we have this time. So long, SVT. Peace.